am not the kind of fool who's gonna sit and sing to you about stars, girl. But last night I looked up into the dark half of the blue, and they gone backward.
Hi there, and thanks for joining us today on Coffee Break. I'm your host, Sarah Altabelli, and today you're joining me with New York scarf designer Christa Louise. Thank you so much for coming on our show today and kind of taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
So I was thinking we could kind of get started. We can talk a little bit about you and your brand, and you could tell us a little bit about your company.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. Essentially, I started the company about 3 years ago, and I guess my entire life I was surrounded by a lot of very creative and artistic people. So I've always been interested in doing things that were creative. I've always enjoyed working with my hands. And when I discovered this process, I really fell in love with it and decided I wanted to start a business. At the same time, I'd also done a lot of work in developing countries around the world. And I really wanted to try to employ women in developing countries to try to give them a chance towards economic independence. And this process really brought those two worlds together in kind of a perfect way. So it's a very labor-intensive process, and I've been able to teach women, in this case I'm actually working with women in Mexico, the process of making the scarves, and in that way also I'm able to employ them and hopefully create a little bit of a better future for them.
Really nice combination of things to worry about. So what kind of inspires every collection? Different things, kind of consistent things?
I think my inspiration probably comes from the things that I love. I love food. That's one big inspiration. I love to travel. I've been very fortunate to travel to a lot of places and live in a lot of different places, and that's definitely had a huge impact on me. Nature is another big inspiration for me. I think that's probably where a lot of people draw their inspiration. I mean, nature is sort of the best of all possible worlds for showing us color and texture and all of these things coming together.
Open to interpretation too, which is always nice.
Yes.
Yeah, so what is the process that I'm looking at here?
The process is actually an all-natural process. It uses just soap and water and your hands. And basically what we do is we start with two different pieces of material. One is a silk fabric, and the other is merino wool roving. And they basically lay out the wool on top of the silk, spray it down with soap and water, and then start to rub the wool into the silk.
Manually rubbing them together.
Yeah, it's a rather lengthy process. Takes a bit of time to get good at and to do, but it's really amazing. You start with these two different elements, and all of a sudden they become one, and you're essentially creating your own textile. Really, you're not. It's two elements merging as one. And it's only soap and water, so it's all natural, and it's kind of an incredible process, actually.
I would imagine it takes like a couple hours at least to make each one.
Or more, yeah. It takes a while, yeah.
No, they are. They're really beautiful.
Thank you.
And they're all totally different, of course, because they kind of depend on who's making them.
They are, definitely. I make all the designs. I lay out the color palette, and we do different things for every season, so we try to come up with different structure as well. But basically, whoever is making it, I mean, they've gotten better the more they've been doing it, so they continually get better and better at their craft. But you know, every person has a different touch and a different way of making it, like their own specific sort of process, I guess you could say. So that makes a little bit of a difference, but they should be pretty close. They should be a fairly uniform size, and the color palette and all of that. But definitely there's, you know, it's a unique touch to each person's hands. Of course.
So what are you thinking future-wise for your company goals?
Well, to stay in business, of course.
Of course.
We would always like to grow. It's nice to finally be a little bit profitable, but hopefully I'll be able to expand. Right now I'm selling wholesale mainly, but I'm mainly on the East Coast and on the West Coast now. I have some representation as well, but I would like to grow and to expand into other markets. I'd like to get into more of the United States. I'd also like to try to take them to Europe. And if I can grow enough, then I'd love to have small pockets of production in different countries outside of Mexico as well, where I could really work with women from different places.
That's wonderful. Well, I'm really glad we got to talk to you, and it was really wonderful to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. If you have any questions or would like more information on Christa and her scarves, you can visit ChristaLouise.com. Thank you so much for joining us today on Coffee Break. I'm Sarah Altabelli. Have a wonderful day.
Les étoiles, les étoiles, les étoiles. Dites-moi étoiles, pourquoi je vous regarde? Les étoiles, les étoiles, les étoiles.